The beast they couldn't break. There was a reason most alien species avoided Earth. It wasn't the radiation levels, the unpredictable climate, or even the humans themselves. Not directly, anyway. No. It was the wildlife. Some of the galaxy's most advanced biologists from the Zarkothi Confederacy had set up a lab just beyond Earth's orbit, eager to poke and prod the planet's fauna for science. For months, they catalogued animals, studying their habits, strengths, weaknesses, reproductive patterns. And then, one bright purple idiot named Driktol brought aboard a honey badger. Unit HB-1. It was supposed to be a simple operation. Contain, observe, dissect. That plan fell apart in the first hour. HB-1 chewed through its restraints like they were buttered noodles. It bit a tech in half, shorted out the gravity field in the secondary lab, and escaped through a ventilation shaft that, according to Zarkothi engineers, was too narrow for even a molecular wisp to pass. They found it 3 hours later, calmly sleeping on top of the warhead bay. "We tried sedatives," Driktol explained nervously to the council via hollow feed. "They make it angry. More angry." "How can it be more angry?" asked High Commander Velkar, trying not to look at the scars along Driktol's arms. Driktol didn't answer. His left eye twitched. They installed reinforced containment with plasma shielding. It learned the pulse pattern and spat fluid into the control panel until it shorted out. They gave it fake food to track digestive patterns. It played dead until a researcher leaned in close, then head-butt him so hard his species' third eye migrated to his elbow. And still, the Zarkothi refused to give up. For them, pride was everything. If they admitted defeat to something under a meter long, covered in coarse hair, and with the attitude of a chainsaw on meth, they'd never live it down in the Galactic Council. So they kept experimenting. And failing. Then one day, a human arrived. Lieutenant Jared Knox had been stationed as a liaison, a polite term for paper pusher the brass wanted out of the way. His job was to observe and report on interspecies biological collaboration. He spent most of his time drinking coffee and reading trashy holonovels. So when he got bored, which was often, he wandered the lab. That's when he met HB-1. It was pressed against the clear shield of its cell, eyes dark and gleaming with unfiltered loathing. Jared stared. HB-1 stared back. "Hello there, little guy." HB-1 didn't blink. Jared took a sip of coffee. "They really got you locked up, huh?" Behind him, Driktol approached with the cautious gait of someone who'd seen too many people lose limbs. "You should not get close. It is unpredictable." "Yeah," Jared murmured. "I read the file. Thing's a menace. But have you ever tried putting armor on it?" The alien blinked. "What?" Jared turned to face him, expression thoughtful. "I mean, you've already failed to contain it. Why keep trying to stop the beast, when you could aim it?" Driktol looked horrified. "It is not a tool. It is barely a living thing. It lives to destroy." Jared smirked. "Exactly." He turned back to the honey badger, which was now gnawing on the corner of its enclosure. "Not for escape, just for fun. You know," Jared said casually, "we once put a machine gun on a dolphin." "Why?" "Because we were bored." HB-1 sneezed. Jared nodded like he understood. He pulled out his datapad and started sketching. Small exoharness. Reinforced pause. Camera mount. Basic AI uplink. And maybe, just maybe, a flamethrower. Behind him, Driktol muttered in horror, "This is why your species was supposed to be quarantined." Jared grinned. "Too late for that now." The Honey Badger Initiative. Officially, the project didn't exist. Unofficially, it had 3 floors of funding, 2 think tanks, and a private hangar on Mars. They called it Project HIVE, Hostile Integrated Vanguard Entity. The name sounded cooler than Weaponized Honey Badger Division, and the brass liked acronyms. Lieutenant Jared Knox was now a project lead. Not because of experience or rank or scientific credentials, he had none of those, but because no one else was crazy enough to take ownership of a cybernetic honey badger wearing armor and chewing through reinforced titanium like it was beef jerky. HB-1 had survived re-entry. Not even scratched. The moment it touched Martian soil, it bit a sergeant in the ankle, dismantled a hover drone midair, and stole a protein bar from someone's locker. That last part wasn't even the problem. It was the fact that it opened the locker with a keycard it had pickpocketed earlier. "We're dealing with a tactical genius in the body of a rage-filled rat," Jared said at the first project meeting. "So the only logical step is to give it power armor." The team laughed. No one stopped laughing until HB-1 broke out again and left a message in the form of claw marks across a whiteboard that read, "Development Schedule." From that day forward, they took him seriously. The exosuit came first, lightweight graphene plating with servo-boosted limbs. That alone let HB-1 tear through steel plates like soggy paper. Then came the upgrades. Combat Module 1, retractable wrist blades. Module 2, short-range plasma bursts from the mouthplate. Module 3, AI integration and audio translation. Sort of. HB-1 didn't talk per se. But the AI linked to its neural rhythms began spitting out phrases that sounded uncomfortably deliberate. "Target located. I ate it. More." They tried training it with food rewards. HB-1 responded by eating the food, then the hand holding it. The psychology team quit after a week. "It's not an animal," one of them muttered, sobbing into a pillow. "It's a violent idea wrapped in fur." Jared loved it. He treated HB-1 like a misunderstood prodigy. He'd stand outside the containment zone with a cup of coffee, watching the creature tear apart combat dummies with surgical precision. "You're gonna win us a war someday," he muttered one day. HB-1 glanced at him through the thick armored glass, eyes narrow. The AI chirped. "War. Fun." The testing videos went viral in the underground military networks. Soldiers cheered, defense contractors offered billions, and 3 alien embassies filed formal complaints. The official response from Earth's Defense Directorate? Oops. By month 3, Project HIVE had 3 prototypes. A HB-1 Spite, the original. Smart, savage, possibly self-aware. A HB-2 Rage Cake, more aggressive, less controlled. Once attacked a vending machine for looking at it wrong. A HB-3 Snugglebite, experimental stealth variant. Tends to disappear and reappear next to personnel with surgical tools in paw. No one knew what they were thinking. That was the scariest part. During a live test in a simulated enemy bunker, all 3 units were dropped in with 0 human support. The bunker was neutralized in 38 seconds. When the smoke cleared, Spite stood atop the rubble holding the enemy's command AI core in its jaws like a trophy. The footage was leaked. The internet called it Death Ferret, the movie. The Galactic Council called it a Category Omega bio-violation. Zarkathi ambassadors demanded the creatures be destroyed, citing war crimes, moral collapse, and existential threat to civilized life. Jared responded with a memo. It wasn't weaponized. It was enhanced. Also, they started it by kidnapping him in the first place. You poke the honey badger, you get the claws. Privately, he sent a shorter message to a fellow human general. They're terrified. Let's deploy one and see what happens. The approval came back with a single word. Do it. Let's slip the badgers of war. The war started with a diplomatic insult. Well, that's what the Galactic Council called it. What really happened was that Zarkathi High Marshal Thrans made the mistake of referring to humans as upright bacteria with delusions of relevance. The comment aired during a live holocast. The feed cut just as a human general laughed and said, "Release the badgers." Hours later, a stealth pod broke through the atmosphere of a disputed jungle planet near Zarkathi space. The world, designated Core 9, was a strategic point, rich in rare minerals and tactical value. The pod opened mid-drop. 3 small figures were launched into the chaos. No parachutes. No descent boosters. Just fury in armored fur. Zarkathi Commander Ulvez stood on a ridge, overseeing troop movement when the first strike hit. He didn't hear it. No sonic boom, no warning. Just sudden screaming. Then a blur. Something shredded through the jungle, silent and fast. Ulvez ordered the scanners active. Nothing. Not even heat signatures. Then came the audio logs. Claws. Claws everywhere. It took his legs. I shot it twice. It ate my gun. Why does it smell like burning? Static. Within 15 minutes, the eastern perimeter had fallen. No enemy ships. No drones. No tanks. Just 3 blips on the motion tracker, moving like lightning and killing everything in their path. The humans had a name for them. It popped up in intercepted comms, whispered with both reverence and glee. The Honey Badger Initiative. Alves stared at the grainy recon footage. 3 creatures, each less than a meter long, carving through squads of elite Zarkathi warriors like they were made of paper. One of them, code-named Spite, was seen dragging a fully armored soldier twice its size into a command tent, where it calmly deactivated the communications array with a single well-placed plasma bite. Then it took a nap. Another, Rage Cake, launched itself into the air using a makeshift grenade jump and landed inside a mech cockpit. The pilot's screams were educational. And the third, Snugglebite, simply vanished. Units kept going silent, their throats slashed with surgical precision. Security cams caught a glimpse of something furry and fanged emerging from shadows, just before the screen went black. Commander Alves sent a panicked message to High Command, requesting reinforcements. Enemy utilizing biomechanical terror units. Possibly demons. The response was curt. Hold position. It's just wildlife. He scoffed bitterly. Wildlife. These things were tactical nightmares. By the time reinforcements arrived, the human infantry had already dropped in. They didn't even need to fight. HB-1 and the others had cleared most of the zone. Enemy morale had collapsed. Surrender rates were over 80%. One alien officer tried to rally a stand. HB-1 decapitated him with a single swipe of its armor-clad paw, then stood atop a ruined hover tank and stared directly into the nearest camera. The translation AI kicked in. Who's next? Across Zarkathi space, that image spread like wildfire. Recruitment plummeted. Morale bottomed out. Civilians began calling the war the badgering. One transmission showed a single honey badger sleeping on top of a pile of confiscated weapons, using a Zarkathi banner as a blanket. The humans didn't gloat. They didn't need to. The footage did it for them. On board the ISS Blackthorn, Jared Knox watched the final reports come in. 74 confirmed kills, his assistant read aloud. 0 casualties on our side. Psychological impact estimated at, well, the computer crashed trying to calculate it. Zarkathi diplomatic channels have gone dark. Jared sipped his coffee and nodded. Snugglebite's learning how to override security doors, the assistant added, a bit nervously. We may need to rethink our containment. Before he could finish, the lights flickered. Somewhere deep in the ship, a metallic clink echoed. Jared smiled. That's our girl. He leaned back in his chair. We didn't start this war, he muttered. But we're going to finish it. And we're going to do it with a species that doesn't even know what fear is. On the jungle floor, amid smoke and ash, HB-1 stood alone. The battlefield was quiet now. Victory complete. A Zarkathi soldier, half-conscious, groaned nearby. HB-1 padded over, sniffed him, then plopped down beside him, chewing on a melted helmet. A message appeared on a human data drone circling above. Mission complete. Badger is satisfied. For now. All boredom must end. Core 9 was supposed to be a decisive victory. It was supposed to end the war. But the Zarkathi weren't done. Not yet. Humiliated by a trio of furry terrors, they turned to desperation, something their kind rarely stooped to. On their moon world of Ar Talith, they activated an ancient project buried beneath centuries of ethical red tape. Doom Maw, a living biotank, engineered from presentient war beast DNA. 5 stories tall. Acid breath. Muscle layered over synthetic bone. A brain hardwired for carnage and absolutely nothing else. And worst of all, it had armor. News of the Doom Maw deployment reached human command within hours. The War Council gathered in silence as the first drone feed showed the creature crushing a gunship beneath one clawed foot. Zarkathi troops followed behind it in awe, emboldened for the first time since the Badgers arrived. New strategy? Someone asked nervously. Jared Knox leaned forward, elbows on the table. His voice was calm, almost amused. "Yeah," he said. "Send in spite." The drop was silent. No fanfare. No speech. Just one pod. One creature. The honey badger landed like a meteor, punching a crater into the ruined concrete of Core 9's last surviving city. Doom Maw turned, steam rising from its snout. It roared. HB-1, codename Spite, didn't roar back. It charged. The first clash was a blur of movement and sound. Doom Maw struck with a claw that could bisect a tank. Spite ducked it, leapt, and clawed across the beast's side, leaving trails of sparks and blood. Doom Maw retaliated with a tail swipe. Spite caught it mid-air, latched on with razor-tipped armor claws, and climbed up its back like a psychotic squirrel. Zarkathi soldiers watched in stunned silence as the little monster mounted their god weapon like it was a playground. Then the flamethrower kicked in. A burst of searing blue fire from Spite's shoulder ignited one of Doom Maw's fuel sacks. The beast bellowed, rearing up in pain, right into a plasma-charged bite from Spite's helmet-mounted jaws. Doom Maw slammed itself into a wall, trying to shake the pest off. Buildings crumbled. Fires spread. HB-1 held fast. Climbing. Tearing. Burning. When the command center caught up with the footage, the only words the translator AI managed to push out from Spite's neural link were, "This is mine now." The battle lasted 7 minutes. At the end, Doom Maw lay still, half its head missing, smoke rising from a cracked exoskull. HB-1 stood on top, one paw raised in victory. The drone camera zoomed in as Spite slowly turned to face it, bloodied and breathing heavy. The AI translated again. "Send more." The Galactic Council convened a crisis session within the hour. Humanity was asked to explain itself. Instead, they sent the footage. Again. Multiple species resigned from the Council that day. The Zarkathi surrendered unconditionally. Their ambassador, once smug and condescending, now trembled as he presented the formal treaty. One of his aides asked if the humans planned to destroy the Badgers now that peace had been restored. Jared, standing at the edge of the chamber, looked confused. "Destroy them?" he asked. "They're heroes." "But they are unstable," the aide insisted. "They are not predictable." Jared nodded slowly. "Neither are we." He tapped a button on his tablet. A live feed appeared of Rage Cake and Snugglebite playing tug-of-war with a tank tread. In the background, Spite was chewing on a crate labeled, "Confidential, do not eat." "Don't worry," Jared said. "They're on vacation." The Zarkathi aide fainted. Years passed. Peace held, mostly because no one wanted to test how many more animals humanity could enhance. Rumors spread. Combat-optimized otters. Sniper crows. An octopus that could pilot a drone from inside a fish tank. But none matched the legend of Spite, Rage Cake, and Snugglebite. Their gear was retired to the War Museum on Luna Base. Tourists lined up to see the scarred exosuits and read the plaque. They weren't supposed to be weaponized. But a human got bored, and the galaxy paid the price. In a quiet corner of Earth, a private research facility buzzed with activity. Jared walked down a corridor, sipping coffee. A young tech ran up beside him. "Sir, permission to ask what we're working on now." Jared smiled. "Tell me," he said, "how do you feel about wombats?" The tech paled. Jared chuckled. "Good. Let's get started."